Hey guys, what's up? This is Modded Pen. I'm Corey, owner of Adams Auto here in Maine. And recently we went ahead and installed the AFE Scorcher performance coils on our 2025 Ram 1500 3.6. Unfortunately, we ordered the gaskets online off of AmericanTrucks.com and they turned out to be defective. So we had to go ahead and remove that upper intake manifold and install our new Field Pro gaskets. I went with the AFE coils because they showed to be more reliable on the reviews than the RIP, and they showed about the same amount of gains. I will say that with the mods on my truck, this complements everything that I've done to the truck up to this point very well. I'm not any longer bogging down when I'm accelerating. I'm not downshifting on slight grades. I'm able to hold higher gears. The truck feels a lot more responsive. And overall, I have a better cold start and better idle. Now again, I haven't seen anybody perform this procedure on the 5th gens on YouTube, so I hope this helps. But yeah guys, let's get into it. Hey guys, what's up? This is Modded Pen. I'm Corey, owner of Adams Auto here in Maine. And today we're going to be installing the AFE Scorcher performance ignition coils on this truck. This is a 2025 Ram 1500 with a 3.6 Pentastar. It also has the e-torque. Now, I went with AFE over the RIP because the specs were very similar to the same, but it showed that they were a little bit more reliable, and I'm not going to take this upper intake manifold off twice. With that said, I do have the owner's manual repair book from Hayes. It goes up to 2023. I'm sure a couple things have changed as far as the connections and the electrical on this truck. So we're going to be kind of looking at that as we get into it. Yeah, let's get into it. Alright, so when starting any repair that involves electronics, you're going to want to go ahead and disconnect the battery. You're going to go ahead and take the negative terminal off first. Set that to the side. Put your nut back on. And then go ahead and unplug the battery voltage sensor probe. Alright, the next thing that we're going to have to do is go ahead and unplug the IAT sensor, the throttle body harness, the purge valve harness, the PVC hose here. Alright, I'm going to grab some tape. One thing that I like to do is I like to make little notes with some tape to just let me know what everything is. This is our EGR. This is our IAT. Throttle body. The next thing that you're going to go ahead and do is you're going to go ahead and disconnect the map sensor at the back. Alright, the next thing we're going to do is get to disconnecting this J&L oil catch can. One more there. One line in the very back. I'm having a little bit of a hard time getting to that. We're going to switch it up. And get this out of the way first. Right out. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove this intake tube. Bolt right here. Need to go ahead and remove the air box over here. That can stay. You'll have plenty of room still. Put that out of the way. I have a piece of cardboard like this, and I can write what bolt is what, and then just stick the bolt or tape a through the cardboard, and then I know where everything goes at the end. Alright, so the next thing that we gotta take off is this throttle body. I know I have aftermarket parts on this truck, but the process is gonna be the same. The only difference is that if you still have your factory PCV line, you're going to have to take this wiring harness off first, so that way you can snake your PCV factory hose out of the way. I do have the instructions for that on my J&L Coil touch can video that I did. I'm not going to worry about marking these bolts because I know these are the bolts that go to the throttle body. They're special aftermarket Allen bolts, Allen hook bolts. Alright, the next thing that we need to get started on is removing this coil on here and removing the wire harness there. These are all going to be 10mm bolts. When I'm working, I usually like to work from the front to the back. We have one little plastic clip here. We need to take off. So we have this 10mm bolt here. This 10mm bolt here. We have another 10mm bolt out back here. Now in the way back, next to the, closer to the firewall, you're gonna have one more 10mm bolt out back there. We're gonna use a ratchet wrench. With those bolts taken off, this cooling line, you can move out of the way. Start getting this wiring harness pulled. So you have a wire nut holding it on there, and another plastic clip down here. Once you remove those two plastic clips, you're going to follow this wiring harness wire back. This wiring harness is going to have a clip right here. And then you're going to have another plastic clip. Ahead and disconnect the harness. Once you disconnected the harness, you're going to go ahead and walk the line down and pull the clips as you go. One clip there, and there's another clip down here. Alright, after that's disconnected, you're going to go ahead and you're going to snake everything under the cooler line here. And then just push it out of the way. For now. Okay. The next thing that we have to do, we have to remove this evap hose, your transmission line, and your PVC breather hose. So you're just going to go ahead and tuck all of that right under here for now. Alright, I'm going to move our wiring harness over here for a second. Now there's going to be 3 10mm bolts. Now there's going to be 3 10mm bolts for the bracket, for the upper manifold. There's 1, there's 2, and the other one is right below. So we're going to go ahead and get to removing those. So the bottom one is going to be a bolt, and the other 2 are going to be nuts. We're going to need to go ahead and remove this EGR valve. There's 2 10mm bolts. Holding this on, and there is a gasket. You're going to want to be careful when removing it, not to damage that metal gasket. And also pay attention to which direction the gasket is going. now that we have that removed, we can go ahead and start removing these throttle body bolts here in the front. Those are going to be 10 millimeter bolts. So you're going to have 2 of them. Now there is a metal bracket here, and down here there's 2 bolts, and you're just going to want to loosen those up. And that'll just help it be able to move out of the way when we go to pull the intake. Alright, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and remove our MAP sensor. Put that to the side. Now there is on the one. Some would say it doesn't. We're just going to move it from, we're just going to take it off front to back. I do know that it matters though when you go ahead and install the bolts and the specific torque, but I'm not sure about the removal. Now these top bolts are caged, they're not going to come out. The bottom bolts do come.
And we're just gonna remove the evat. And what I do is I find the bolt and I put the extension and the bolt on first, and then I'll put my ratchet on that. And again, it is very tight out back here. This whole job, you're pretty much laying on your stomach on some sort of a platform. If I had more money, I'd buy a creeper, one of those top creepers. Alright, we got it. And this is where a swivel ratchet will come in handy. Alright, we're going to start off by lifting this end up here, sliding this intake manifold off of the bolts from the side bracket. Alright, now it should be able to just pull right out. Nice. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to remove our gaskets because we're not reusing our gaskets for this one.
Once that's covered up, you can go ahead and remove your foam. And this is the coil that was giving us a problem, so we're going to go ahead and pull that and swap it and be done. Alright guys, so we're getting ready to reinstall our upper intake manifold, and we have all the gasket locations all cleaned out. Now the gaskets that was recommended to me is Field Pro. My local parts store only had the upper and lower, so that's what I got. But yeah, so I've heard really good things about the FEL Pro or FEL Pro maybe, I don't know, look it up. Here we are, guys. We're ready. Now I did reinstall temporarily this oil filler cap, the neck filler. Yeah, but we don't need that on. So, if you notice, I did pull the EGR off of the intake, and you'll see why. It makes lining up that pipe that it goes into a lot easier. You're going to want to have your bolt up like this, and then there is two indents, one right here and one right there, that you're going to kind of line it up with. Make sure that everything's on the way one last time. And if you guys notice, I did remove the EGR off of it, and you'll see why when we go to reinstall it. It's much easier to attach this to the pipe and then attach it to the manifold as opposed to the opposite, if that makes sense. tell when it's in place because it won't move back and forth or side to side. Now when you put it in, it goes in all the way, kind of clearing that. Put your oil filler neck in, pull it back forward, align it with the manifold bracket there, and then you're good to go. Figure out how to edit this video and be able to display the torque sequence, the tightening sequence with the torque set from my manual. We have to go online to find that. And now that we have our spec pulled up, again, that's the spec. We have our spec pulled up. Again, that's the spec. We're going to go ahead and reinstall these bolts. So one is this one. Go ahead and reinstall everything, and that's pretty much it.